Hello, today I'm talking to you about the 29 risks to tenants, which has now become law under the Fitness for Human Habitation Act of December 2018, effective 29th of March this year, 2019. Now, as a landlord, you'll already be familiar with such things as annual gas safety checks, the need for smoke detectors and CO detectors to have on your ceiling, and for Legionella to be tested for, and of course the electrical safety tests, which have now become a legal requirement. But the latest list does include a lot of other risk assessments that need to be carried out either by you as the landlord if you're managing your own properties, or by your managing agent. So my first recommendation is that you speak to your managing agent and ask them if they have a procedure now in place that allows them to carry out these tests and risk assessments for you. I think you should expect to be charged for this service because it does take time. But we'll run through the list now if you are a landlord who manages his own properties. As I say, gas safety, smoke and carbon monoxide, these are heading the list. Water supply, the safety of that water, fitness for the tenants to drink, of course, and electrical hazards. These are all familiar topics. But the second category is probably slightly less familiar to you, and it does include the need to look out for damp and mould growth, because obviously this is a danger to health, to your tenants. Asbestos, lead, mostly piping of course. The need to check on the security of the property and to prevent people breaking in by perhaps additional locks, window catches, etc. And lighting, that's another factor that has now been added to the list. So if the lighting is inadequate, then you're going to need to do something to improve it. Other items in this category: domestic hygiene, pets and refuse. You can only really judge these by visiting the property, and I would always recommend that you have a regular routine of inspecting your rented properties at least every 4, if not 4, perhaps every 6 months. Sanitation and drainage, that's another potential health hazard. And now falls associated with baths. Obviously baths can be not as suitable for showering in as the more modern style, which has got a flatter floor. So old style baths with the curved floor may be a risk to people getting in and out of their shower. Falls associated with stairs and ramps as another category. And fire, of course, is a major risk, as we all know. Any other source of flames, perhaps from a gas hob or a gas fire, again these can be very dangerous. And then hot surfaces such as ceramic hobs or extremely hot radiators can burn a child, and other materials that could be a fire risk within the home. The third category is slightly more difficult to analyse and to detect, and it includes biocides, which are different forms of chemicals that may have found their way into the house. The effects of radiation and radon, for example in a basement, can be a risk. Any uncombusted fuel gas, if for example the barbecue canister of gas is left somewhere within the house or perhaps on a terrace where the sun can affect it. Volatile organic compounds, anything that could cause an explosion, the risk of any structural collapse or rickety staircases, for example, with banisters that need to be reinforced. And another category is noise, which can have a detrimental effect on a family, including children perhaps doing their homework, or perhaps keeping people awake at night is another category that needs to be addressed. The final category is excessive cold due to lack of heating, excessive heat due to lack of insulation. Crowding is another risk that's been identified, so you need to perhaps check on the number of people living at the property and whether it is suitable for that number of occupants. Food safety, that can cause obviously health problems if the food is not being kept refrigerated and people then eat it. There can be falls on level surfaces due to carpets which may be loose, or nails in the floor that are could cause people to trip, and falls between levels if there is a step up or a step down from one room to another. Any entrapment which may occur if the front door could slam and people, for example children, could be left within the house and not able to get out, and also ergonomics, which really boils down to whether the seating and beds are comfortable for people to rest and not develop back strain or any aches and pains. So that's a very long list. That is 29 different subjects, and I would urge you to get to grips with these, because there are fines which can now be imposed on landlords if their property is not up to these standards. And the other point is, if you are letting through an agent, you could consider asking that agent to manage your property, and obviously check that the agent has got the procedures and services in place which can cover all of these topics. So it's something I'd recommend that you get to grips with. Just Google 29 risks to tenants, or look out for the Fitness for Human Habitation Act 2018, and you'll see a list of those there for you to consider. That's all for now. I hope it's been helpful, and I'll be back soon to talk to you about other relevant matters. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.